you read, that you look at, and I'm going to tell you that the smartest thing to do is go through and look at some of the poses that you see in the magazines. Tear those pages out. Hopefully you've got a full-length mirror in your house or your apartment. Put the photos up right alongside the mirror. Practice the poses. Practice the expressions. And look for details. Look for things in the hands. You want to be able to change expressions. You want to see how the hands are. You want to look at what the light is doing for your body, for your muscle tone. And one of the things to help you, even though you don't have a good professional flash, just take a light and put it on the side of the mirror, so you've got light sculpting across your body. And then study that, because that will make you a better fitness model, and it will also help you with your stage competition.
All right. Once again, that was Mr. Greg Geiger, owner of Studio 95 Photographics, right there in Milford, Connecticut. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on the phone, we have the world's #1 fitness photographer. This man has shot more than 100 magazine covers to his credit. I'm talking about none other than Mr. Jason Ellis, the world's preeminent fitness photographer. Jason, how's it going out there?
It's going great. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on the show.
Actually, man, I just want to thank you for calling in. You know, it's truly an honor to speak to somebody that actually has your type of credentials, and the fact that you would call in to FTNS Radio, you know, just really means a lot to us here.
Now, you got it. My pleasure.
Now, Jason, let me ask you a couple of questions, okay? One is, for the beginner, the person that's just starting out, and their main goal is, hey, I want to land the cover of, you know, Muscle and Fitness or Planet Muscle or Muscular Development, okay? What advice would you give to them? So basically, what I'm asking you is how would they go about trying to land a cover?
Well, for the beginning model, you definitely want to study the top models in the industry and definitely look at the people who have already been successful. You know, they always say success leaves clues. So I would say look very carefully, study all the top models, study all the top magazine covers, and then try to look precisely like and try to match the exact look and size and shreddedness of the models that are on whatever magazine cover that you want to get on. So that's the first bit of advice I'd give. Okay,
now there's going to be a lot of athletes that's going to think, okay, once I land a cover of a magazine, that's it. I'm off to fame and fortune. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you know, just let them know that it's more than just landing a cover, because a lot of them think, you know, that's their big payday. Approximately about how much do the models make?
You know, an interesting thing about how much models make regarding landing magazine covers is that it's a very small amount monetarily. Typically, you hear prices of between $250 to $500 for a modeling fee, and that's for the big magazines, even like Muscle and Fitness. So, you know, the real value to the model in landing a cover is the actual exposure, because overnight, millions of people know your face, millions of people know your name, and that recognizability starts to build. You know, I once heard an inside cover of Muscle and Fitness for advertising, just for 1 month, for example, is $48,000 just for 1 month.
Wow.
You can imagine, you know, what the cover means in terms of exposure. I mean, if you're trying to buy the cover of Muscle and Fitness, I mean, I don't even know if you could value that, put a value on it. So it's a really, really valuable thing to a model to get that for their branding image. And that's really the key, is you get these magazine covers to build your branding image, and that builds a lot of value in terms of modeling. So, you know, that's what I'd say about that.
Okay. Now, for those of you that are just joining us, we have Mr. Jason Ellis on the phone. Jason has shot over 100 magazine covers. To his credit, I'm just going to name a few of them, all right? Now, Jay, obviously I can't name all 100, but we got Muscle and Fitness. We got Muscle Mag. We got Olympians News. We got Natural Muscle. Exercise Health. We got Muscle Planet. We have Millionaire. We also have muscular development. I may have said that one. I may have not. There's just so many that you've done. You know, it's hard to just pick out a few of them. All right. Now, we just discussed about how much money the models actually make and how much the magazine gets from that. Okay.
Right.
But for those that are just curious, what comes after the cover?
Well, like I alluded to, the big thing about getting a cover is that you start to build a brand name. And as a model, you really start to build up momentum once you get a few covers, especially the big covers. And then you become a marketable commodity. And the way that you make money is very similar to a basketball player. Let's say Kobe Bryant. You know, he might only make, 5-10 million from the Lakers, but then his endorsements are well beyond that. So it's a good way to look at it is the endorsements of the products. Top fitness models like Greg Plitt and also Jay Cutler, Mr. Olympia, they make the majority of their money. In fact, definitely the majority of their money in the endorsements of all their products. So, supplement companies, weight belts, weight machines, all the Bowflex commercials that you see on TV, that's where you make the real money. So you look at it as a way, magazine covers as a way to get exposure, to build your brand name, and to build your recognizability, and that's really the smart way to go about it.
Okay. Now, you mentioned, Jay Cutler, obviously four-time Mr. Olympia champion, but who are the most popular models and why?
Well, the most popular models would definitely be the current top popular models. Greg Plitt's definitely up there, at the top because of he's been on over 100 covers in the last 3 years, and he's been on covers, every single month for the last 3 years. So, you got to definitely give it to that guy who's, I don't think anybody really competes with that. And then other really notable models, James Ellis is moving up quickly right now. Obi Obadike is definitely on a rampage with his career. And then obviously female models, Jamie Eason's, just ubiquitous. She's everywhere you look,
right.
Whether it's bodybuilding.com, which, just to deviate a little bit, but something that's really advantageous for models out there wanting to learn how to become more successful. If you look at Jamie Eason, bodybuilding.com has been a huge catalyst to her success because of the amount of exposure that's really given her. So you really want to look at distribution outlets and companies that will give you a lot of exposure. So, that's been really huge for her, as well as she was there at the beginning and inception of MySpace, I believe, and also Facebook's been really good for her, too. So those are just a few things to look at.
Okay. Now, earlier in the segment, we mentioned, owning the rights to your photos and as well as signing, the proper release forms, so on and so forth. Just briefly, in your own words, just tell our listeners, okay, what is the best advice that you can give them as far as what to look out for, what to expect, and what the next move should actually be?
Well, in regards to release forms and so forth, I would suggest when you sign a release form with a photographer, you essentially just want to give them the right to publish in magazines and editorials, magazine covers, but you want to retain your rights in terms of, endorsing any product. So you just want to protect yourself there. And, because obviously you don't want the photographer selling your pictures to a supplement company because that would detract from, your marketability in the future. So that's something that I would look out for. So that's what I would say.
Okay. Now, excuse me, Jay, how often are you at the bodybuilding shows, on at any particular level? Because a lot of competitors would say, you know what, I'm going to compete. I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm going to find the guy with the biggest camera. I'm going to find this. I'm going to find that. How often are you out there scouting for new talent?
Well, you know what? I'm actually going to be at quite a few shows this year. In March I'm going to the Arnold, which is in Columbus, and then in April I'm going to be in Connecticut for the Fitness Atlantic, and May I'll be in Vancouver, and then June is Miami, and then also Australia. July is Calgary, and then September is Toronto and Las Vegas at the Olympia. So I'll also be going to Tampa, Florida in November. So, I'm out there. Those particular shows, a lot of them at the WBFF, scouting new models and so forth for covers. So I'll be at all of those, and I also book photo shoots at those shows too. So if you're interested in booking a shoot with me, you can obviously contact me via jasonellisphotography.com and book a shoot for any of those shows.
Right. Okay, now, let me throw something hypothetical out there at you, okay? Because once again,
Sure.
I like to play devil's advocate, because you're going to get that person that's listening to this, and they're probably going to have this question, okay? And they're going to be like, well, why didn't the host ask this? So let me just ask you this question, okay?
Sure.
I'm at the show. I look great. I'm the most ripped I've ever been. I'm just fantastic. How do I go about getting you to notice me? Like, do I approach you when you're taking shots and just be like, hey, listen, won't you take a look at this? Do I come up and introduce myself? What is the best way to get somebody of your caliber to actually talk to me and kind of like guide my career towards the right path?
Sure. Well, coming up and introducing yourself would definitely be a good idea, and then following up with an email with some of your top pictures would be, I think, the best way to approach me personally, just because I really like to take an objective look at people's pictures afterwards, right after I meet them. And that can really help me determine whether or not, if I want to try to shoot them for magazine covers and so forth. So that's what I would suggest.
All right. Now, along with having a great physique, obviously, being marketable as far as the way you look is extremely important. But you have a lot of guys that they just refuse to smile. I mean, it's just something that's they just can't bring themselves to do. How important is it that, they have a great smile as well as a great look?
Well, interestingly enough, I'm looking, at a lot of covers I shoot, and not all of them have a smile. I think it's very important for commercial photography to smile. But I don't know how critical, honestly, I don't know how critical it is in terms of fitness modeling. It's definitely called upon quite often, though, in advertisements, so I think you definitely want to have, your smile in check and be able to, turn it on for the camera when you need to.
Mm-hmm.
So, so it's definitely important, but it's not critical, interestingly enough.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Now, for the fitness models, okay, some of them might look at a magazine cover and be like, oh, that's so easy. I can do that. It's 20, 30 minutes of taking pictures. Big deal. Please tell them exactly what a photo shoot actually entails.
Well, a photo shoot entails, it's a combination of all the preparation of the model. That's usually, most of the people I shoot these days have been doing this for, 5 to 10 years, just really perfecting their body, perfecting their look. And obviously, this has been my passion for, over 20 years now. I've been taking pictures, and, I've just lived, breathed it, slept it, the whole 9 yards here for the last, couple decades. So that's what you're really seeing, and it takes about anywhere from a quick shoot can be an hour and a half up to, an all-day-long photo shoot. So there's a heck of a lot of preparation that goes into these shoots that a lot of people don't see, and that's really what goes into it. So.
All right. So now, with all the preparation, okay, what is actually needed for a photo shoot, and basically, how tan should the person show up? Should the athlete bring shorts? Should they wear oil? Should they bring their own bikinis? Just once again, this is just for those that really don't know. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
yeah, what usually happens for all the models, that have been in this for a long time, they'll bring a large selection of, for men, for example, they'll bring a large selection of shorts, pants, things that they work out in, tank tops, athletic shoes, and then when they get to the shoot, I'll take a look at the variety of clothing that they've brought, and I'll select the best pieces, and then we'll shoot in those. And for females, same thing. What they'll do is they'll put their bikinis in little, like, Ziploc baggies, and they'll usually have, 10 or 20 bikinis. Monica Brandt showed up on a shoot, and I think she had, over 100 bikinis, if I remember, in her big suitcase, just tons and tons of bikinis that she had in Ziploc baggies, and also athletic pants and shorts and all kinds of outfits. So, and then regarding tan, you want to have a good tan, not overly tan like you'd need to be for a show, but just a nice even tan. Obviously, not too red and not too drastic. You know, I think spray tan is best, or airbrushing actually is the best way to go, so it doesn't leave any streaks or anything like that. So,
okay. Now, tell me this right here, okay? I'm a beginner. I'm starting out, okay? And what should be my best photos for submission to the magazine styles?
Well, I do a variety of cover shots, so they actually mimic what you see on magazine covers, and I also do a selection of workout images, so maybe we'll take the person's best body part and do a workout, and then maybe a couple lead shots or introduction shots. You know, maybe they're in clothes, so it's just something to introduce the model.
Okay.
So that's typically the type of shots that I do.
All right. Now, somebody that's trying to catch your eye, and they go onto your website, jasonellisphotography.com. When we come back from the break, Jason, I'm just gonna ask you just a couple of brief questions. All right? Is that okay with you?
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, The Body Shop will be right back here on FTNS Radio.